Let's be honest, it's always your friend in a long term, healthy, committed relationship trying to teach you exactly how to find the one. And I get it now because I'm that friend. But that is not this video. Hi, I'm Angel, and welcome back to my little corner of the internet. If you're new here, I make videos for the girlies who are just trying to keep their head above water right here. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I missed you. Today's video is going to be something completely different than anything I've ever shared with you. Part story time, part life advice, and part everything I would tell my little sister if I had one about love, heartbreak, and relationships. And this is not like a messy video. It might get there. That's not the intention. I have gotten to the point in my life where I no longer hold ill will towards anyone who has done me dirty. And I want to take this opportunity to share the life lessons and the things that I've gone through in my life that have made me the woman who I am. I like to keep things transparent. I like to keep it a buck with you guys. This is my story. And to really kick things off, I need to take you guys all the way back to 2014. That was the year that I started high school. I cannot believe that I had my first boyfriend 10 years ago. The concept does not compute to my adult brain that I was able to have the type of relationship that I had when I was 15. I don't know where my parents were, but they probably should have been watching me a little bit better. I just want to know what business I had falling in love and talking about forever when I could not even drive a car. In 2014, I didn't even have my learner's permit. My first boyfriend. We're not going to name any names, but the girls who get it. And he was a fan favorite in my household to this day. You can ask my mom about him and see how she reacts because she will crash out at just the mention of him. The classic high school bad boy. The one that we know we probably shouldn't get involved with, but it's kind of that thrill, that living on the edge of your seat kind of experience, especially for me, goody two shoes, straight A student. It was definitely a bold choice. He made me feel like anything was possible, that I should live more and get outside more and explore past the little bubble of reality that I had known until then. The most important thing about him is he wanted me to live boldly inside the box that he gave me, not a step outside. Given that this was my first relationship, I didn't really have much to go off of except for Disney Channel originals, right? Troy and Gabriella, which looking back at the situation with married adult eyes, I did not realize the level of control and influence he had over my life and my choices. And I think as young women, we don't recognize that although it might not be a physical control, emotional control of situations goes farther than we can even think and comprehend. It's almost like he led me to certain decisions without point blank controlling me or telling me what to do. He more so persuaded and influenced my decisions heavily. While I was with him, I quit swimming. I started pulling away from my friends and family and pouring into him and him only. And I started making more reckless decisions, doing things I probably shouldn't be doing. And when I say reckless, I'm still like the most goodiest two shoes girl to this day, but it was reckless for me. It was reckless for the time and for the age. Let's just say that. And then, of course, at that time in my life, I was probably the most unstable person ever to live. I had no business being in a relationship, but I was 15. So who was anybody going to tell me what to do? I knew everything, right? When we broke up, it really rocked my world. I'll be pretty honest. Like looking back, that breakup still makes me feel a type of way. And it was the kind of breakup where he dove straight into another relationship. So it had me thinking, am I good enough? Was he cheating on me? Why is she better than me? And it just spiraled very badly. So much so that I have a video on YouTube of me crashing out at him in high school. Maybe I'll insert a clip here just so you guys can experience it with me. I have something to tell you guys. My ex-boyfriend is dating someone else. So I guess this is a great time for me to talk about how to get over your ex-boyfriends and girlfriends because, whatever you prefer. It got to the point where I was so insecure, and I think insecurity is huge, especially when we're still trying to find ourselves. I'm 15 years old, and I'm in love with somebody who Just moved on to somebody else. And he's out there with this new girl who's not me, and he's falling in love with her, and it really hurts. I was so insecure that the only thought that I had during this breakup was that I was not good enough. And I was going to prove to him my value and make him regret leaving me because I was the prize. Now, yes, I was the prize, but was she 2015 Angel the Prize? So, yeah, at that point in my life, I really started shifting the focus from getting good grades and being an honor student to being pretty and being hot and dressing and acting for the male gaze. And that was my first mistake. And I will be honest with you, that cycle continued for about 5 to 6 years after that. And mind you, I was 15. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever done that? Have you ever tried to change yourself to fit in or to feel seen or to feel respected? Have you ever maybe changed yourself thinking that it would get your ex's attention or maybe bring him back or fix the situation? Not to spoil the rest of the stories, but it never works out the way that you think it will. No one and no situation is worth sacrificing who you are. One of the very strong pillars of who I am is authenticity and transparency. But I didn't always used to be that way. That was something I had to learn through trial and error. I was not born with that trait. I never want you to get on my channel and ever think, Angel this, Angel that. Angel has come a long way, and so will you. When you are dating and meeting new people and putting yourself out there, put yourself out there and be confident with who you are and what you bring to the table. And know that you're not for everyone. And that's okay. It is normal. We cannot appease and get along with everyone as much as society wants us to believe. You have to stay true to who you are. If you learn anything from me ever, please take with you how unique and amazing you are, and that there's only one of you. It cannot be duplicated. No matter how many people try to be you, they never will. So value that. When someone genuinely loves you, they love all of you, not just the parts of you that they can control. When I look at love from this point in my life, it's about being with someone who builds you up and encourages you to be who you are. Love should not make you smaller. If you feel small or unseen with the people you love the most, it is not love, it's control. When you love without boundaries, it takes away more than it will ever give you. When you are building your dream life, when you are trying to understand the woman that you are, you can be so easily influenced by the people who are closest to you. The people in your most inner circle, the people that you trust and lean on, influence who you become. So be mindful, especially in intimate relationships, who you let closest to you. Your first heartbreak teaches you that survival is possible, right? There's always something on the other side. And when you're dating and exploring love for the first time, sometimes it feels like it's all or nothing, right? If this relationship doesn't work out, you're a failure. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. For me, the most important thing that I learned from my first relationship is how far are you willing to bend before you break? And that was just boyfriend number one. We're gonna skip boyfriend number two because he still pisses me off to this day, but boyfriend number three. Boyfriend number three. I decided after all the emotional healing and roller coasters of dating my first two boyfriends that I wasn't just gonna date somebody because they were cute or because I had a crush on them. I was gonna do something better. I was gonna date my boy best friend. Yep, we've all been there. Or maybe you haven't. So this is a story for you. So fast forward from 2014 to 2017 when I was 17 going on 30. Literally, I was dating I'm honestly so embarrassed. I was dating a young dad, one of my best friends from high school. And me, naturally, being that at 17, I needed to settle down and get my life together, I basically became a stepmom, life coach. I was too involved. I see that looking back at it. I spent the majority of my relationship with him critiquing who he was and judging his life choices. And honestly, I just wanted him to grow up. And I thought that if I poured all my love and support and advice into him, he would be ready to give me the future that I wanted. Have you ever done that? Have you ever seen so much potential in someone that you think if you just give them the love and attention and encouragement that they need, that that potential will become fruitful? You are the one who can really pull that potential out of them. After some time, I came to the realization that I had no business being with this guy. Clearly, I didn't even like who he was. But this relationship went a little bit differently. In my first breakup, it was hot and cold. So we broke up, but then we talk and we'd see each other and we'd still kind of act like we were dating when we weren't. This breakup was 100% done. The second I told him that I didn't think things were working out, he was off. Blocked, cut contact, nothing. It hurt so badly to feel like someone that you really loved and cared about, especially because you were friends, could immediately just cut you out of their lives. It was like, whoa. So, this breakup came what I think is at a transitional point in life when you realize something's got to give, right? Breaking up with your high school boyfriend when you go to college, breaking up with your college boyfriend when you get your first real job and when you move cities. I was being preemptive. I was cutting my losses early. I was breaking up with him so that way we didn't have to do the whole long distance thing and drag it out and make it miserable when I was in college. And it hurt. The biggest takeaway here: don't confuse proximity for closeness. Just because he lives nearby, just because she's always around, doesn't necessarily mean anything. Ask them the hard questions about the stage in life that they are in. If you're someone who likes to drink and party and be out, find someone who likes to do that. If you're a homebody, find a homebody. There's nothing wrong with being with someone who's different than you, but if you are going to expect them to change in any way to adapt to the lifestyle that you are living currently, it's probably just not ideal. But do what you want to do. I mean, fuck do I know? And now I bring you to the biggest canon event of my entire life. Boy number 3. Fast forward a little bit more to 2019. I am in my final year of college. Yes, I know. I graduated college when I was 20. Let us move on. I was an overachiever. This story was the classic rom-com college sweetheart love story until there was COVID. For anyone who is dating someone through a huge transitionary period in their life, sometimes we hold on a little bit longer than we should. And for me, if you guys remember 2020, this was my favorite ex. He was carefree, he was fun, and he yearned for me, okay? This was like peak lover boy, peak main character in a romance novel. He really made me live life and just enjoy being a kid. I feel like I graduated high school basically when I was 16, graduated college when I was 20. Like, I was never living my life. You know what I mean? As Stray Kids says, gave up my youth for my future. I just want to rise up stronger. And that pretty much sums up my teenage years. I wanted to be an adult. I wanted to grow up so badly. And this guy basically told me to just live life and relax and enjoy being young. And I did. And when I say we had a time, we had a time, okay? It feels so good to feel valued and seen for who you are. But you never know love until you experience conflict. Just like in 2025, as we had in 2020, political differences were at an all-time high. More importantly, his family didn't agree with me in the ways that I cannot change. And I'll be really honest with the situation. The cracks were small, but they started to grow. And as things got more serious, we had to put our feet to the fire. When political tensions are high and racial tensions are high, you have to call out people for what they stand on. And When people aren't supportive or quick to stand behind you, it makes you feel a type of way. At this time, I was still learning and growing and trying to navigate who I was from my childhood to my adulthood and the newfound freedom I had in my 20s. I will say that we were equally to blame in this situation, but I genuinely wanted to change him. Again, look at me trying to change men. I gotta let it go. I was very controlling, very manipulative, and I wanted him on my schedule. I graduated college early because I had plans for myself. I was getting my master's degree, and I had a life and I had expectations of what my partner would bring to the table when things got serious. Playing pretend in college is fun, but when the real world comes knocking at your door, you have to answer. When I look back at this situation, I learned a lot about communication. For me, I'm a very confrontational person. For him, he was a very agreeable, very people pleasing. So anytime I said, I want to do this, I want to do that, he was always like, yeah, let's do it. I'm about it. And then he would not show through on his commitments. And one, that's my responsibility for putting a lot of pressure on him and making him feel like he had to do things the way I wanted them, but also on him for not having the backbone to be like, hey, this is my life. I don't want to do what you're doing. This was the kind of love where I genuinely didn't think there would ever be a day in my life when I didn't love him. I thought we were endgame. We were talking about moving in together and getting engaged, and he got me a promise ring, and everything was so serious until it wasn't. And little by little, a little becomes a lot, right? When you don't agree on X or Y or Z, it's easy to say, oh, well, we can't agree on everything. And with the cheating and the manipulation and the lies that went on in our relationship, I had to tell myself, my husband would never. I would never be with a man who did any of these things to me, who didn't stand up for me, who lied, who manipulated situations and gaslit me to thinking I was crazy. Leaving him genuinely broke me into so many pieces. The whole world collapsed around me, figuratively and literally. COVID shut us down. We were isolated. We were alone. Racial tensions were high. We were cutting off friends who had different differences, and I just felt very alone. I tell people every single opportunity I get that I have the best friend in the entire world. And without her, I don't think I ever would have saw the light of day from that situation. She and her mom literally dragged me out of bed, invited me over for dinner every night, made my favorite food, went to my favorite places. Oh yeah, we're going to your favorite place. Do you want to come? They did it for me. And that leads me to the importance of having a support system. When we reflect back and we look at women and girls who isolate themselves from their family and friends when they're in relationships and only have their partner to lean on, what happens when he's gone, financially and emotionally? When you pour all your love and all of your eggs into one basket, when that basket breaks, what do you do? Even as a married woman now, I have conversations with my husband even before we got married and with our prenup and our postnup and all of our marriage agreements that I need to be okay with or without you. I didn't build this life of mine to throw it away on love. Love is valuable and love is the end game, but love is not enough. There's so much more that goes into a relationship than how much you love them. Attachment is a fantasy and it is not love. You shouldn't be with someone because you can't walk away. You should be with someone because you don't want to walk away, that you want to work on things and grow together. The right person, they won't break you to make you stay. Have you ever been addicted to the idea of someone, the idea of the life in the future they could give you, but they weren't giving it to you in the present? That is a fantasy, fiction. People will meet you where you are. The right person will meet you where you are and grow with you. As a woman who watches my YouTube channel, I am going to believe that you are a strong, confident, and powerful woman. You are consistently showing up for yourself and working to improve yourself to build your dream life. And for that alone, you are incredible. You should never have to dull your light or shrink your goals and aspirations for your relationship, ever. That's not your person. During COVID, my dad is immunocompromised and he was not doing well. He was in and out of the hospital. And I thought, if I don't marry this guy that I'm with now, what if my dad doesn't get to see me get married? When it comes to relationships, sometimes there's external pressures that are keeping us in certain situations that we should not be in. Maybe that's children, or maybe that's future children. If you're pregnant, it is hard to walk away, especially if you don't have the resources and the support system to do so. I genuinely thought that if I left him, I would regret it for the rest of my life, that I would never find someone who loved me the way he loved me on our good days. Because when you're in a toxic cycle, there's a lot of good days and there's a lot of bad days. It's almost like a roller coaster. That's how he described dating me, by the way. It was like he was riding a roller coaster every day because he didn't know if it was going to be high or low. Feeling was mutual. If I would have stayed in that situation, I would likely have regretted it for the rest of my life. But at the same time, I wouldn't have known any different. When we settle into relationships so young and we have the societal pressures of getting married at a certain age and buying a house and doing all these things in a timeline that society has given us, and makes us feel behind. So sometimes we jump into situations we really have no business being in. You can love someone so deeply and still not be their person, and still not be meant to spend the rest of your life with them. Two friends. I will never forget the day that she called me and told me that her boyfriend was punching and beating her car. She got in an argument with him. She told him she didn't want to be in the relationship. She got in her car to leave, and he started attacking her vehicle. They just got married and had their first baby. Do you know how alone she had to feel to go back into that situation? He provided for her financially, he gave her a job. So she went back. I was shocked, by the way, when I saw that she married him. I was like, what? Not my business. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Second friend. She's with a guy whose family absolutely hates her. They've hated her their whole relationship. They've had differences. They even went so far to break up over those differences. She got pregnant with him, and now she has his baby. No ring, no marriage. The white picket fence life that she told me she wanted and dreamed about, and the master's degree and the things that she wanted to achieve in life, she no longer has those ambitions, which is fine. I mean, hey, do whatever you want to do. It's noticeable when your friends change. And yes, maybe she changed because that's the life she wanted to live, but likely she got caught in a situation she couldn't control. The ability to walk away is the biggest form of self-love. It is hard, but it's not impossible. And there are resources and people who will support you, but you have to speak up and you have to be willing to walk away. I will never be able to help someone who does not want to help themselves. I can give you the resources, I can show you the light at the end of the tunnel, but only you can make the decision that's right for you. If there's one thing that all the stories I shared with you have in common, is that it was he before I. I made these men my entire personality. My hobbies, my priorities, my decisions, all revolved around them and what would make them happy. The issue with that, if you can't see it for yourself, is when the relationship ends, you are left there standing alone with all the broken pieces of the person you don't even know, because you weren't being true to yourself. You were following in their light, following in their footsteps and not yours. I don't care if you're 15, 20, 30, 50. A man should never be the center of your being. Your partner should be a part of your life, not the center of it. Because if you leave, who's left standing behind? Do you recognize her? We almost lose all sense of self to almost merge into one with our partner. And even with my husband, I've told him many times, we cannot have all the same hobbies and watch all the same shows and do everything together. We have to have individual personalities. We can't do everything together, which shows how much we love each other and want to do stuff together. But I'm like, no, that's enough. So, to my internet little sisters out there, or big sisters, find yourself first. Figure out who you are and what lights up your heart and what makes you passionate and happy when no one else is watching, when it's just you. Before you can give your heart to someone else, give it to yourself. Stop looking for love outside of you, because you are enough. You don't need a man or a woman or anyone or anything to make you happy. You have everything it takes to do it yourself, to pour from within. When you know who you are and what your values are, you no longer are looking for someone to complete you, to fill that missing piece, fill that void. All right, now here's the part that I have to be honest with you, because it would be so easy for me to sit here and say, well, now that you know all my exes, they were obviously the problem and I'm perfect and live, laugh, love. But that's not the case. The truth, if you really want the truth, I had patterns too. All my relationships, they followed the same toxic cycle that I was raised in. The same love that I was shown by my birth mother was the love that I reflected in my romantic relationships, and I had to unlearn those toxic cycles in order to be happy. Could those boyfriends I had in the past have been amazing partners if I controlled those cycles in myself? The world will never know. How many looks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll? Mm-hmm. I rushed into things, I was overconfident, I was controlling, and I built futures on small glimmers of hope because I hated my reality. I hated the life I was living so much that I would ignored red flags and I didn't build the foundation. I just skipped to the good part, right? Is that even possible? No. I share my truths with you so you can recognize the patterns too. If all of your relationships go the same way, it's not them, it's probably you. And it's a cycle that you have to break. And you can't break the cycle unless you face it head on and recognize it. You have the power to change your life. So take the accountability and take action and do something differently if you want to see different results. So before we go, here's your homework. And yes, I'm giving you homework. That's literally why you watch my videos, is so you can become a better person. So get your notebook out. I encourage you to take the next couple of minutes and genuinely reflect on your love stories. I want to know what your role has been in every relationship that you've had. What are the habits and fears and beliefs that you are bringing into all of your relationships? You can leave them in the comments. I want you to face them head on. Stop running from yourself. She's not going anywhere. The first step in not repeating a cycle is to recognize it. And now, for the one thing I probably never thought I would do, is express gratitude. As much as these relationships broke me and changed the person that I wouldn't be who I am without them. So for that, I'm grateful to all of you. I know you're still watching me. Every boy I loved before taught me about myself, about love, about boundaries, about desire. These guys will definitely go down to my daughters as my heartbreaks. And honestly, they are my biggest life lessons. Without them, I wouldn't be me. And I wouldn't be the woman sitting before you today. I have to be thankful for those guys because without them, I wouldn't have been able to recognize the woman I am and to fall in love with the amazing husband that I have today. So, to all the boys I loved before, thank you. And I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye, guys.